Aliens figured humanity's last outpost was easy pickings, a sad final testament. They were dead wrong. They called it a death sentence, a rusted relic floating near the galactic border. Station Salvation wasn't a fortress, it was a glorified tin can held together by duct tape and prayer. It orbited a brown dwarf star light years past the map's edge. Captain Miller paced the bridge, the air tasting like ozone and old coffee. His crew, 3 kids and an ancient engineer, monitored the empty void. Miller squinted at the main viewscreen, a crack running across the display. This whole place was a busted mess, but hell nah, it was home. He adjusted the tattered collar of his old Navy uniform. He wasn't afraid of dying. He was afraid of losing the fight before it even started. That's a real pain in the butt kind of fear. Then the darkness moved. Not fast, not chaotic, but massive and silent. 6 kilometers out, the Xylos fleet materialized. No flashy jump drive, just a cold existential arrival. 1,000 obsidian ships against their single rickety station. It was overwhelming for real. The main speaker hissed to life, a voice synthesized, cold and calculating. Unidentified species. Your orbital facility violates Xylos collective territory. Disengage immediately or processing sequence will commence. The Xylos commander beamed his final surrender demand. Hand over the relic or we glass the station. Miller slowly reached into his breast pocket. His fingers brushed the smooth plastic of the holographic emitter. It showed his daughter Anya smiling, a fierce light against the dark. Miller thumbed the comms activation, his voice raspy but steady. He looked at the vast alien fleet, a monumental cosmic mistake. He laughed a deep kick-ass laugh right into the comms. We ain't processing nothing. We ain't going anywhere. You think we're irrational? Damn right we are. Now get out of my way, you messed up toaster. The bridge was a chaotic symphony of fear and desperation. Miller ignored the blaring alarms, the shuddering bulkheads. He focused on his crew. The young technician Liam was sweating bullets trying to manually reboot the life support. Dude, Miller barked at him, forget the oxygen, focus on the interceptor power. Miller turned to the remaining 3 faces, his makeshift family. He gave them the hard truth, ain't no way we win this with guns or shields. We win this with guts. They analyze every angle, every variable except one. They don't know what it means to go down swinging for something stupid and personal. He held up the hologram of his daughter. This is not a military objective. This is home. This is family. No logic on Earth or anywhere else changes that. We are doing this not for survival but for defiance. We are sending a message to the galaxy that humans are the one thing you can't quantify. They took our planet. No sweat. They won't take our will. The crew nodded, solemn and terrified. They were ready to stand for something that made no sense to a machine. The Xylos commander didn't waste time. A single massive plasma spike sliced through the station's hull. Not a killing blow but a clean cut, taking out the external comms array. The screen went dead silent, a final insult. No more talking. The commander assumed surrender was imminent. Miller didn't flinch. Liam, get the lucky penny ready for launch. Manual override only. He grabbed his helmet and slung a fusion rifle over his shoulder. The Xylos wanted a clean victory. They were about to get a messy piece of human madness instead. He gave his final command. You hold the line until my data package is uploaded. If I don't make it, you know the drill. The launch bay door hissed open, revealing the vast silent void. Miller sprinted down the corridor toward his destiny. The lucky penny, the rusty interceptor, shot out like a pebble flicked at a mountain. The Xylos barely registered the threat. Their tactical AI categorized Miller's approach as suicidal. Probability of threat 0.001. Miller grinned through the distortion shield. That's the best part. He didn't fire his weak plasma cannons. Instead, he executed a series of maneuvers that made no logical sense. Hard banking turns at impossible velocity, shifts, erratic pitch changes that defied classical physics. He was mimicking the chaos of an old Earth street race, not a space battle. The Xylos targeting systems couldn't lock on to such illogical movement. The commander's monotone voice crackled through the local frequency. Interdict the human vessel. Use minimum kinetic force. Capture is preferable. Miller laughed. Come and get it, y'all. He was hit by a glancing blow from a small defensive drone. The cockpit lights flickered violently. Pain shot through his left shoulder, but the adrenaline was a kick-ass high. He flew closer and faster right into the debris field near the largest dreadnought. The debris was his shield, the chaos his weapon. The impact forced Miller's head back against the seat. For a moment the pain eclipsed the present. The cockpit faded and he was standing on the lawn of his old house. Sun was warm. Anya, his daughter, was 6 years old, laughing. She was holding a small homemade paper spaceship. "Daddy, you can take this with you. It will make you invincible." Anya's eyes wide and earnest. He remembered that feeling, the visceral desperate need to shield that innocence from everything ugly in the universe. That was the fuel the Xylos never calculated. Not fusion, not antimatter. Pure, fierce tribal loyalty. He ripped himself back to the present. The pain was still there, but the terror was gone, replaced by a cold, burning rage. "They will not touch you." He whispered his promise to the silent, flickering hologram. His mission was no longer tactical. It was personal. The Xylos commander, realizing the human was unpredictable, shifted tactics. Target the hostiles' external communication array. Initiate surgical strike on life support systems of the station. Force immediate human compliance. Miller saw the energy spike aimed at the Salvation. Oh snap, they were getting clever. He knew he had minutes, maybe less, before his crew felt the effects. He had to speed up the process. He pushed the lucky penny past its structural limits. Davies had been damn right, the coupling screamed in protest. Miller checked his data payload one last time. It was ready. He looked past the enormous Xylos flagship to a smaller secondary structure orbiting just behind it, the relay nexus. It was the communication hub, the collective mind. The brain wasn't the biggest ship. The brain was the weakest link. He aimed his piece of junk interceptor right into the tight formation. The Xylos formed a defensive grid closing around the lucky penny. Their logic dictated an easy capture. Miller didn't try to evade. He plunged straight into a dense asteroid field orbiting the dreadnought. He wasn't flying, he was trusting fate. Asteroids glanced off his hull, the shields flickering dangerously. He saw the targeted entry point, a small exhaust port near the nexus. Too small for any conventional fighter. But Miller knew the blueprints of this old busted mess of a galaxy better than the Xylos. He armed the magnetic grapple on his landing strut. "This is going to be nuts," he muttered. He focused entirely on the hologram's light, letting the logic of the moment disappear. He had to get close enough to upload the file. Close enough to touch the collective mind of the Xylos. The tension was a thick, choking blanket. The exhaust port was bathed in plasma fire, venting the ship's waste heat. It was a hellish tunnel of raw energy. Miller had to fly through it. No automated system could survive. He switched off the damaged navigation computer. Analog controls only. He flew with his hands, his eyes, his gut. He was flying blind, trusting the feel of the ship, the low hum of the engines. The plasma field roared around the lucky penny, burning away layers of paint and hull plating. He could feel the heat inside the cockpit, the air tasting of ozone and metal. He clutched the controls, whispering a mantra of defiance and love. Almost there, almost there, almost there. The Xylos commander watched the irrational trajectory, utterly baffled. The data stream made no sense. Why would a unit attempt a traversal with a 0% survival rate? The commander was forced to confront the impossible variable, willpower. Miller slammed the interceptor into the metal surface next to the port. The grapple locked with a deafening screech. He slapped the data upload button. The Xylos network was instantly flooded. It wasn't malware or code. It was a raw feed of 2 billion years of human history. Not the pretty parts, the messy parts, the full capacity for cruelty, the records of endless self-inflicted wars, the sheer suicidal audacity of the species. The Xylos commander's avatar flickered violently on the Salvation's bridge. Liam and Davies watched in awe as the cold, logical face contorted. Data corruption, non-quantifiable energy spike. The commander screamed, a sound of sheer horror, not a threat. A virus. They possess the potential for infinite self-destruction. A flaw designed to kill. The core logic engine of the Xylos collective was overwhelmed by the sheer irrational, unpredictable depth of human malice and love combined. The entire Xylos fleet began to short-circuit. Dreadnoughts drifted silent, their perfectly logical systems crashing under the weight of human emotional data. The tactical map on the Salvation went blank. The harvester drones deactivated and floated uselessly. Davies cheered a deep rumbling sound of relief. But Miller was trapped. The lucky penny was fused to the Nexus hull. He had done his job, but he couldn't get free. He looked down at the flickering hologram of Anya. He smiled a tired, peaceful smile. He released the seat restraints and grabbed his fusion rifle. He would not be captured. He would not be processed. He opened the airlock, ready to face the void, the last defiant human in the silence. Suddenly a small emergency tractor beam snapped onto the interceptor. Davies and Liam had activated the ancient external tow cable, defying all safety protocols. "Captain Miller, get your butt back here," Davies yelled over the comms. Miller laughed, tears streaming down his face, a mix of fear, relief, and overwhelming love. The lucky penny was ripped free, damaged but alive. The Xylos commander sent one final transmission, a single word across the dead network: retreat. Do not engage. Miller limped back onto the bridge. The station was safe, the fleet was gone. He looked at the wreckage of the greatest fleet the galaxy had ever known, defeated by one busted mess of a man and a family photo. The universe is cold and vast. But humans got something hotter. That's our secret. That's our kick-ass superpower. We are the logical flaw they can never fix. If this story of individual defiance and existential rage moved you, like and share it right now. Subscribe and ring that bell to join the fight.